We're live. Silas, why do you hate fishing? Tell me again one more time.
So first off, as like an adult, I've thought about it, tried to get into it. And I hate sitting by the water. A lot of time it's stinky water. Or on a boat, on a stinky boat, waiting for fish to bite.
Mm-hmm.
That is, I've fished just a few times as an adult. Maybe I'll give it more of a shot here in the future. All my buddies, Sandoval, Steven especially, really want me to go fishing with them.
Hold on. How many fish have you caught?
In my life?
Yeah.
20.
Okay, so not that many.
Not
How
that
many
many.
fishing trips have you been on in your life? Or how many times have you gone fishing?
Gone fishing? 70, 80.
Okay, so the numbers, that makes sense.
Don't make a lot of sense.
So like the
So-
ratio of the times you've gone
Yeah.
fishing to like actually catching fish
Is
not good.
It's not very good.
Because ideally you want to land like, in my book, I think my buddy Chase would always say he doesn't like fishing, but he does like catching. And
Yeah.
I agree with that. Luckily, Alberto's my brother, so normally if I go fishing, I also go catching because he knows how to catch the fish. I don't. You know
That's
what I'm
the
saying?
problem, dude. They
That's
all tell
probably
me
why I
right
like
though.
fishing. But if you're fishing, you need to catch a fish like minimum every 10 to 15 minutes.
Yeah.
If you're not doing that, it's just not fun.
It's, yeah, the few times I went, like as a kid, dude, you would sit there and you'd try to do these stupid knots, and my dad would get angry every time over the knots. And I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go fish now. And we go out to Grantsville Reservoir by the town of Grantsville there. And it's supposed to be all this good fishing, man-made reservoir, and I have seen 2 fish ever caught there. One in the morning, and one was during the day. And I went, those are the majority of those 70, 80 times going fishing are
Damn.
that flipping reservoir.
Does your dad catch fish?
My dad catches all types of fish. He's the
What?
fish whisperer.
No way.
Not at that reservoir.
Okay.
That reservoir, no. Everywhere else, though, dude, he would go fishing and catch tons of fish. And I'm like, how do you do this? My little brothers, though, dude, they really catch fish. They know where to go. Some of them are kind of fish whisperers, them and their little high school buddies running around.
Mm-hmm.
They go to, like, little canals in the city there in Magna, and they catch fish. And I'm like, dude, I've been in the wilds where there's supposed to be tons of fish. I'm out here doing every type of voodoo dance you can do. And there's not a fish in sight. It's like they see me, and my scent drives them away, and they're under the water. And so growing up, never catching fish. I did go to Strawberry Reservoir where I caught like 7 fish, I think, in the one day. Maybe it was 5, something like that. And it was just like the first hour, so boring. Maybe the next 30 minutes, even after that, still boring. And then I just caught a fish, like I would say, every 20 minutes or so.
Was it thrilling? Were you like, okay,
Dude,
I
it was
get it.
awesome.
Were you like, I get it. Fishing's awesome.
I get it, exactly.
Okay, that makes sense.
My 19th birthday, I went and played a ton of airsoft with my little brothers and their friends. And at the end of it, we went fishing at the Stansbury Reservoir or lake. I can't remember what they name it. But they have all these little fish there. They have a few like larger fish. I don't know what type or what species they are, but they have these little ones. And I'd catch one of those every few seconds, and that was a blast.
Yeah. Are they?
They have like flat bodies, like really flat, like this big.
I don't know. Bluegills.
Yeah,
Bluegills.
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
nice.
That's what
Bluegills
they
are
were.
fun. They put up a little fight.
They put up a little fight. It was so bloody fun, and oh my gosh, it was just awesome. And I went and did that, and I was like, wow. But then as an adult, I thought about it more and more, and I'm like, man, there's so many things I can do. Do I really want to go fishing? And I'm just waiting for one of my friends to sufficiently bully me enough at one instance to get me to go more.
Well, if you ever come to North Dakota or if we're ever in Missouri at the same time, I will make you catch lots of fish. You can literally
really
sit there.
down.
I fish North Dakota. I use 4 fishing poles. I line them all up on the shore, and I literally just cast out, and it's like I'm running from pole to pole every time they start moving a little bit. And I'm just raking in freaking all kinds of fish, walleye, freaking bass, freaking
Dude, I'm so
catfish, and
down.
it's amazing. It's a thrill. But if you go out and you don't catch anything, it's like, wow, this is a scam. Like I went out fishing twice this year, and both times the weather was terrible, and I felt like a wait. I was like, wow, they
That's
took my
also
$50
something.
for a fishing license. I didn't catch a fish, and it hurts. It hurts real bad.
Yeah, I didn't spend any money. My parents always bought me my fishing license, and I was like, this sucks. Why am I out here? I'm already working.
So that's confusing. So
you know?
you're fishing with your dad. You go out, you're on the boat, you're doing the thing, you're casting the rod. He's catching like 20 fish and you're catching 0?
Yeah.
What?
He's a wizard, dude.
That's weird.
He is an animal whisperer. You know Alberto's an animal whisperer?
Yeah, yeah.
My dad is an animal whisperer.
I've
His
actually
chest
always
hair
heard
is
that about
called
your dad.
deer. His
Called
chest
deer?
hair. This is the joke that his friends he goes hunting with make. His chest hair are a deer like, deer attract deer.
Okay, that's
almost.
probably not a compliment because that means he probably smells like a doe and estrus.
No, he doesn't. But the thing is, it's just so funny is that he finds so many bucks every time. There's never been a hunt that no, that's a lie. There's one hunt I've ever been on with him where we weren't successful.
Have you ever shot a buck?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've shot 3
Oh, with a gun or with a bow?
with a gun.
Do you bow hunt at all?
I haven't in a very long time, but
Dog, we got to get back into it. I got
Dude,
into bow
it's so
hunting this
fun.
year. That shit is addicting. It's
Really?
like next. I don't think I can't, honestly. Here's the thing. I've stalked so many deer this year, like monster bucks. Like, I don't even want to get into why I haven't gotten a buck yet, but I haven't gotten a buck yet. But the fact that
your chest hairs aren't strong enough.
Yeah, probably. I don't smell like a female doe. I don't smell like I don't smell like a doe in heat enough.
Yeah.
But I feel like if I shot a deer with a gun, no offense, I think it'd be kind of like a letdown at this point. It's just too,
Really?
yeah, because it's just too easy.
Really?
Dog, if I walked out there with like a rifle and a scope, bro, I could probably get a buck every single time I left the house.
Yeah.
That's how many monster bucks there are in North
Are
Dakota.
you telling me you're that good with a gun, Gilbert? Come on.
Well, I'm just saying, like, you can get within, because what's like the effective range with a rifle, like 50 to 100 yards?
What do you mean effective range?
Like how close do you have to get to a deer in order to take a shot and like an accurate shot? Like you can get like 100 yards, right? 200 yards.
Yeah, I mean all the way up to a mile. I know people that have shot miles and hit a deer and killed it.
Yeah, but ideally you're not going to want to be.
Ideally, no.
But I'm just saying, like with the bow and arrow, you need to be like 40, 50 yards.
No, that's
minimum.
definitely fair, and you got to stock up on them.
But
Yeah.
like the amount of times I'll see bucks off like 80 to 100 yards, it's like I could literally pop that thing. But in order to get closer, I'm going to spook it. It's hard to get close.
Yeah.
All right, so pivot away a little bit. Are you born and raised in Utah, Grace? We have Grace in the podcast, by the way, too. We didn't
Hello,
mention that
people.
earlier.
Sexist. I can't believe you.
Listen, girls typically are not allowed on this podcast, not because
But Gilbert showed up
we're
at my house.
sexist or
today.
anything,
Sexist.
but because I don't
Don't
know what
listening to
questions to
women.
ask a girl. But have you lived in Utah your whole life?
No, I actually grew up in Nebraska.
Oh,
And
no way.
I moved out to Utah to go to BYU because I grew up LDS, and I realized I didn't like it as much as I thought I would.
You don't like
So
Utah as much as you thought it was.
I don't like BYU as much as I thought I did.
Why
so
not? What do you dislike about BYU?
I didn't like the
Because
culture.
I dislike BYU quite a bit.
Yeah. I
Agreed.
didn't like. First off, I didn't really like the class culture.
Okay.
I thought the students weren't easy to get along with, and the guys weren't easy to get along with, and the professors weren't easy to get along with.
It's weird they don't let you grow a beard on BYU. You need like a beard card.
Well,
like
do you
a
know why
pass.
they have that?
What? I didn't even know that.
Tell me.
So they actually instituted that because in the 1960s and 70s they had this social movement where it was like freedom of expression. You can grow as much facial hair, you can be as unhygienic as you want because it's kind of rebellious against the previous generation.
You're talking about like the hippie movement, right?
Yes.
Oh yeah, I know about that.
And because they were doing that at BYU, they found that to be disrespectful, and so they instituted that rule.
Yeah.
But it's kind of stupid because there's not that issue anymore, and I don't think they need to be doing that.
Well, it's like I don't know. I feel like beards. Like I feel like I'd be safe. I could safely say this. I think everyone that's been on my podcast has a beard, but beard's like the ultimate sign of masculinity. You know
I
what I'm
agree.
saying? Like you walk to BYU and you see all these fresh-faced dudes, and it's like, honestly, I don't want to sit here and rip on Mormon dudes, but like,
Bro.
I don't. Like
I
the
will.
culture.
The BYU dudes have something lacking.
Yeah, they're not okay. Look at. Let's not get
Not
too
all
disrespectful here,
BYU
but
dudes are the
I'm not a
same.
fan of the Mormon boy culture. As someone that
Neither
grew
am
up in it
I.
and then left and then like experienced what like There's something. What's
Yeah.
up with that? What's going on?
I didn't know what true masculinity was like until I met Silas. And I was like, where did this guy come from?
Dang.
I was like, this guy isn't going to let me walk all over him. He's actually physically intimidating. He has opinions, and he has good opinions.
Yeah.
All of the boys at BYU are sticks. They look like they've never suffered anything hard in their lives.
Like
And
going on a fishing trip 80 times and only catching 20 fish.
They haven't
That's
suffered.
why he's emotionally hard, and he's been toughened by the
lack of
cruel
fishing.
nature of the world.
Exactly. Silas
Cruel
has been through
reality of.
true trauma through
Hey,
fishing.
So there weren't any manly men in Nebraska. When did you move here?
So I moved here in 2020.
Okay.
I would say,
Good timing.
yeah,
It's good.
I liked
Perfect
it.
time.
I got
Gotta
a lot
get
of
out
perks
and-
at BYU because of COVID.
Really?
So that was nice. I got a whole bedroom for the price of half a bedroom. So that was nice. I am a very introverted person. I don't like a ton of people. So it was nice to have my space.
Until she gets around my family.
His family's pretty great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I can't get him out of the house because she's like, babe, they're here to party.
That's good. Silas has a really friendly family.
Yeah.
It's hard to get into the inner circle, but once you're there, baby, you are there.
That's definitely true.
Yeah.
So BYU, you don't like it. Did you graduate yet? Do you have a degree yet?
No, so I transferred. I am 50% of the way done with my degree. So I have I'm hoping a year and a half left of school.
Okay.
I'm going into accounting and emergency medicine.
Nice.
So
That's
I'm
cool.
getting
Both very useful.
Yes. So which is why I wanted the EMT. Well, I finished my EMT class. I wanted emergency medicine
Okay.
for the skill for when I'm a mom
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
accounting for working at home
Yeah.
because I want to be with my kids.
No, I honestly think it's cool when people get useful degrees like this. Says somebody like a lot of people want to, don't know what they want to do in college. Not saying you're really going to use. I mean, I have no idea what your plan is. A lot of people
Yeah.
don't use their degrees. It's a real thing, but going for something that's actually like a legitimate skill and not like a theory.
I had to go through a couple phases. I kind of wish I didn't. I'm glad I came to Utah for college. I met Silas, but I was a lost soul when I came out. I had no idea what I wanted to do. So that was kind of a bad decision. But good things came of it, and I know what I want to do now. But I definitely was I changed my major a couple times to completely different fields. So it was a learning experience.
Heck yeah, that's cool. Silas, tell me about the appliance repair business. What's up with that? What's up with that thing?
Nothing too new. Appliances are still getting worse. A lot of companies just can't figure it out. They're making them bad on purpose, literally intentional.
Overall, as a business, because appliance repair is interesting. Because as a kid, I never really was like, this is something I want to do. But it's like the family business. All of our Jordan side, they all do appliances.
It can be extremely profitable.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't understand, how do you make money in appliances? The thing is say you have, let's say plumbing, right? You go do a plumbing job for anywhere between on average, I would say $2,000 to $15,000, depending on what it is, right? And Peter's probably going to correct me on this later, but you do it for a lot of money, and your margins are just way higher in plumbing. In appliances, and you'll run 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sometimes more of those a day. But on the average, I would say, at least when I did plumbing, we would run about 1 or 2, maybe 3 jobs a day, and then that was it. And we'd work 10-hour days. And in appliances, I'm running anywhere between 6 and 10, sometimes even 12 jobs in a day, and I am doing jobs. The company I currently work at gives me an opportunity to run more profitable jobs, so more like $2,000-$3,000 jobs.
Yeah.
But still, I would say the most of my jobs are between $200 and $800, somewhere in there.
Wait, this is
appliance repair.
Right
This
now.
is appliance repair
Okay.
right now.
And you've always have you done anything other than appliance repair?
I did plumbing, and I did roofing up in North Dakota. I was there for that brief stint.
Yeah.
I did plumbing when I got back from North Dakota for 3 months, and didn't want to, just figured it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Appliances mainly, I'll get out of it eventually, and that may be sooner or later. Haven't exactly decided yet, but eventually I'll get out of it. Right now, it's just a really good way for me to support my family.
Yeah.
A really good way. I make pretty decent living, and And I have been doing it for coming on to 16 years here in March. But I think doing it my entire life, I'm ready to possibly start finding something else that I like doing. But it's hard for me to be like, okay, I want to go start doing this other thing and take a pay cut of 20, 30 grand.
Yeah.
And it's like, do I really want to do that? Do I really want to maybe find something and get good at it and then go and jump into it? I know that's really hard too, but that's just it. So appliance repair, it's fine. I do a lot of work for a few brands, and honestly, man, they're all just dumb. I don't know. I think that they make them intentionally, or as I was saying, they intentionally make them bad, and they're just getting worse and worse.
Really?
Yeah,
because it seems like appliances are getting more and more expensive.
They are getting more and more expensive for sure.
And the components are just getting shittier and shittier.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you know how to... I was at your house 2 years ago there in North Dakota, and you had a direct drive washer and dryer, or two-roller dryer there. Easiest darn things in the world to fix, reliable, last forever. Their parts, when you replace them, will last a long time unless you deliberately abuse that appliance. And now, you know, you got 15 years out of that before you really start having issues. Brand new to there. Now you get a washer and dryer, 2 to 6 years is your average lifespan before you're going to start having probably major repairs needed. So anything $600 plus on an appliance that you say you bought a washer and dryer for $800 or $800 a piece, so $1,600. 4 or 5 years go by, you're going to be spending anywhere between $400 to $1,000 on repair for each of them somewhere in that time frame.
That's ridiculous.
But 2 to 6 years. There are some brands that are just so much worse than others, but honestly, they're all going down a bit of a downhill slope. There are a few brands that are like making them how they did 25, 30 years ago.
Yeah.
Sub-Zero is always coming out with new technology for their refrigerators, but Sub-Zero is king.
Yeah.
Sub-Zero is king. If you can get a $20,000 Sub-Zero fridge new, you know you're going to get a damn good product. If you got like a Speed Queen washer and dryer, you're getting a damn good product. It's going to last a long time.
Like a modern day Speed Queen?
Modern day Speed Queen. And you can get industrial ones in their size, like the commercial ones. Yeah. But then their residential ones are just awesome. They make them like the old Maytag Magic Chef styles, and they're awesome. Any other brand is kind of crappy, though.
Honestly, it's one of the things that annoys me the most because I feel like there's this big push for green energy, environmentalism, and that's all in the form of like, okay, we're going to get rid of plastic straws. I was barely driving through Colorado. I think it was Colorado. No, New Mexico. It was actually New Mexico. It's barely in New Mexico, and they banned plastic bags. And it's like, why? Like, that's so stupid. Every product
you
that
said
you're
New
giving,
Mexico or
yeah,
Mexico? Oh,
New Mexico.
Yeah.
They banned plastic bags in New Mexico. And it's like every product I'm buying from you guys is in plastic. Like, why is one extra little bag going to affect anything? But I have to carry all my fucking groceries out in my arms like a jackass because they don't freaking give me a bag to put them in. But aside from that, I think the number one thing that I think, like, honestly would make a humongous impact on the long-term amount of garbage that's ending up in our landfills is the fact that most of our products are designed to break, not be easily repairable or not be cheaply repairable, and you either need someone to come out like you to come out and fix it, or you need to throw it away and get a new one.
Exactly.
Like, I'm the ultimate do-it-yourselfer, and I really like it when whatever I have, if it breaks, I can just go pick up, like, a common part, like a ball valve or, like, a new switch or something. Like, I fix everything I own, but, like, a lot of stuff, you really can't take it apart and fix it. And I think that's weird because, like, a washer and a dryer, not that complicated.
Nope.
Basically just a big thing, a big tub with a motor.
With a motor and a few electronics.
Yeah, and you should be able to just take it apart and fix it. I'm sure you can, but like, I just feel like everything's just too complicated. Like kitchen appliances, there's no reason they shouldn't last forever. Most of them are really basic. Blenders, coffee makers, you should be able to just take it apart, replace whatever's in there, and it should, last 50 years. Like, why not?
Exactly.
Like, if we made a coffee maker that you could literally pass down to your kids, maybe replace, like, the glass thing that might break once in a while, like, that would eliminate, how many coffee makers does the average person buy in their life? Probably at least, if you drink coffee, I'd say you probably buy one every couple years, you know.
Exactly.
Or I don't know if you move, if you whatever, they just break, they're shitty, and then there's really no way to fix them. You just throw them away and buy a new one.
Yeah.
It's just stupid. I don't know.
It is stupid.
I think it'd be cool to invent like a product that was just like something. I think like a car is the first thing that pops into mind because cars are just getting stupid complicated, and it's
Yeah.
just like they're just way like. I think everyone should be able to fix their car.
Yep.
But they're getting harder and harder to fix, and I feel like they're getting more and more confusing, and I'm sure a lot of it's because they're advancing things, but I feel like they do purposely make things difficult to work on. In fact, I
Yeah.
know they do because there's all kinds of lawsuits with, you know, John Deere and a lot of the big automakers because you need like special software just to even diagnose
Yeah,
them.
I hate that. That's Miele Appliances right now from Germany, dude.
Milo?
Miele. That's the German brand of appliances, and they're hyped up being so good. German engineering. No, they suck. Trying to work, you cannot. If you do not have training, you cannot work on those. I've been working on those straight for 2 years, like all the time, and they literally require you pretty much to become an engineer. As a technician, to become an engineer to even function and work with those appliances. They're that complicated now.
But are they like super good, or they just make them
No.
They're
interesting?
fancy schmancy.
They're very fancy and they're very crappy.
Interesting. So go down the list real quick. What are the best appliances that are gonna like last the longest? That are the easiest to work on yourself. Like if you were to go out, you had all the
Right
money,
now.
and you're just gonna buy. So you said
Oh, easiest to work on myself?
Sub-Zero,
Oh,
Speed Queen,
well, you're saying the easiest to work on myself or just best to buy to last a long time?
both.
Both. You want me to combine them both at once? So, longevity and to work on yourself, Frigidaire for refrigerators.
Okay.
I'd honestly say that. They make them super basic still and go with the more basic stuff. Even Frigidaire makes something that's complicated and a little hard. Their refrigerators and freezers are so simple to work on and easy, and they're, as far as price goes, you can't beat it. They're better, and they're not even that crappy. They're better than most brands. Washers, dryers, Speed Queen. Buy the basic Speed Queens. They literally make them like they did 25 years ago. If you knew how to work on a Maytag Magic Chef, you look up a YouTube video and look up that name, you'll be able to work on the modern day Speed Queens, residential ones. Dishwashers, a basic Whirlpool. A basic Whirlpool made like it was made 10, 15 years ago. It's cheaper, so it won't last as long. The parts won't. But it's still basic. You can still work on it. It's, $600 for that dishwasher.
What if I want to buy a dishwasher that is gonna last like high quality? Because
High quality Bosch.
Bosch.
Bosch all day. So Bosch is made by Thermador. Bosch is going to last you a very long time. Not a very long time, like 10 years without really needing repairs. But if you did have to repair it, it is a little easier to work on than a lot of other brands. The point I made with Bosch and Thermador being made by the own company is, by the same company as Thermador is a high-end brand. And their dishwashers are the exact same as a Bosch with a lot more bells and whistles, and so you're paying for the name and the price and the bells and whistles that come with it. And a Bosch is $1,000, and you'll get such a good dishwasher out of it. They're better. They wash your dishes better. They last longer, and they're good quality. Bosch washers and dryers are pretty good too, except they can be kind of complicated to work on. It's the same with their refrigerators. If you can get a Bosch in anything, you're actually really set. But they are a little harder to work on as far as they go. Like a Frigidaire has no crap, like 6 legitimate electrical parts, and boom, that's it. So it's so easy to diagnose and work on. Let's see here. Like if you went with like a stove or a range, GE. If you're working on it yourself, for sure, a cheaper GE, Whirlpool, Frigidaire, KitchenAid. Oh, so easy to work on, and they're good. They'll last a little while. So the gist of it goes is if the cheaper you really go with in the brands I named, the better the product really will be. Less bells and whistles to go bad. Some of these appliances are like, oh, if this alarm goes bad, it's going to give you the alarm code nonstop forever.
Well, yeah, that's how it is. Everyone buys these damn, what are they? These espresso machines. It's this particular brand, but they're like freaking $1,000 for the espresso machine. Every fucking one I've ever used gives you like, oh, the filter's clogged. Oh, it needs to be clean. Oh, it needs.
That's
it's like
how
come every time I've ever used anyone's espresso maker, it's like it's a Breville. It's like it's so fancy, but it's like trying to make a cup of coffee is just you got to spend $50 every time to replace the filter. It's nuts.
Yeah. Dang. Well, how have you enjoyed your visit to Utah, bro?
Honestly, I haven't done much. I tried to. Interesting. Okay, so look at don't think I'm crazy, but I swear to you, I dream about killing deer. I dream about deer.
I know, bro.
And
I know the feeling.
every time I freaking have a dream about a deer, it seems to come true. So it's
Are
weird.
you dreaming about bow hunting deer?
Yeah.
Okay, I
It's driving me-
love bow hunting. I've never
you?
been bow hunting, but I actually got obsessed with Cameron Haynes.
Okay.
And I learned like everything he was doing. I started rucking with weight just so I could practice hiking and going bow hunting.
She's crazy.
That's freaking funny.
She's crazy.
Dang, bro, you got a freaking unicorn here. What the
Our
heck?
first date, we're going hiking. She puts a 40-pound ruck in
It's whack.
on our first date, and I'm over here like she's outdoing me. Me over here fat and out of shape, trying to hike up this damn mountain.
Yeah, he was like, I can't let this happen. So he like pushes me over and then like
Babe,
pours
don't expose
water.
me.
He pours water on my head. And I'm like, I have a date right after this. Like, what the crap are you doing?
She had a second
Wait,
date
she had
the
a
same
second date
the
booked
same day. So
after you?
our
Bro, I
first
was
date
busy.
was very
You're
long.
just
I
like,
don't got time
you're
to
like
waste.
speed dating.
I gotta
Okay,
get
I'm
those
gonna walk
babies
up.
She
out of here.
was. She was like, I'm speed dating. She's like, I want to go through all these guys. I met her, dude, and she was her bio on Mutual was like, oh, I'm not really interested in
Bio on Mutual, huh?
Yeah, that's where we met, dude.
Dang, the
Mutual.
church has gotten fancy.
And so
Yeah.
go on this hike, and I
Oh, it's
shove
not
her.
mutual like the activity. It's a dating app.
Oh,
It's a dating app.
you
yeah,
guys
yeah.
met on a dating app.
Yeah,
That's
a
cool.
dating app. And we go on this date, and she had a date afterward. I'm like, oh, well, I like this girl. She's very pretty, very awesome. I'm not going to let some other punk try to steal her from me, so I just drench her in water. Like, I didn't pour water on her. I drenched her in
Who
water.
says romance is dead? And that worked, huh, Grace? You weren't
Gilbert?
like, this guy's an asshole. You're like,
I was like,
muy caliente.
dang, this guy's got some balls on him.
Sounds
Wow,
like
babe.
sounds like you guys are the perfect match. I full-heartedly approve.
Yeah,
That's
me
crazy.
too.
So you like Cameron Haynes? You're obsessed with bow hunting. Do you own a bow?
I don't. I really
Bro.
want to.
You need to get on that, Silas.
Yeah.
What the heck? I'm trying to buy
My
wife
wife
a
has
bow.
enough things to occupy her time for now.
Well,
Thank you.
bro,
That's
you
true.
Got, you got a lifelong hunting buddy right there.
We
Yeah,
still
I
need to
do.
go hunting. Yeah. I
Together,
think bow
together.
hunting would be my jam because I love hiking.
Yeah,
And with regular like hunting with a gun, you just like stake out and just wait.
yeah. Kind of the same with
No,
archery.
you don't.
Sometimes with
no,
archery
you
too.
don't.
I don't know how hunting with a gun is, but yeah, with archery, some people do like deer stands and like tree stands, especially for whitetails, and they'll call them in, whatever. Well, I hunt mule deer, and mule deer, it's spot and stock. So you drive along, you find canyons, you look all over, you glass for them, and then once you find them, you have to make a game plan with the wind. It's freaking crazy. It's so much fun. But yeah, you'd probably be really into, especially if you like hiking, because I'll go out hunting. I hike like 5 to 7 miles every time I go out, and
That's awesome.
it's great. But anyways, back to my dream though. Basically,
Yeah.
I swear to you, I dream about like I'll dream like I'll go hunting, and it's funny because I won't get a deer, but it's like I'll dream about like shooting at a deer or somebody shooting at a deer, and I swear to you, every time I've had a dream about hunting, it's always happened. So I was down in Mexico. I go out and I'm javelina hunting with my nephew, and then that night I have a freaking dream that I shoot a really big horn, like a lot of, it was probably like a freaking I don't know, like a 4x4 whitetail buck. But it was like a little buck, but it had like a big rack. And I dreamed I shoot this freaking whitetail buck, but it's like in someone's backyard, and there's like a white vinyl fence. I'm like, this is so weird. Like, why am I dreaming about shooting a deer and somebody's like in the middle of the suburbs? Lo and behold, the night I show up, we're talking about deer hunting, and my dad's like, yeah, we have like tons of deer that show up in our yard all the time, and there's like a bunch of big bucks. And I was like, Dad, what the heck? Do you have a bow? And he freaking he hooks me up with this crossbow, and I'm like getting all psyched. I'm gonna shoot a deer, go poach a deer in his front yard, and then
Is this dad here?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, my dad Kyle.
Okay.
Anyways, long story short, I get all excited, and the more excited I get, the more nervous he gets, because he's like, yeah, maybe you shouldn't poach a deer in my front yard. My neighbor's going to be pissed. And he literally took away my crossbow, his crossbow, and I'm not too happy about it. I'm like, I had the dream. I'm trying to fulfill my destiny here.
Yeah.
Literally,
Dude.
there's monster whitetails in your front yard.
Bro.
Yeah,
You want
I'm-
to hear a deer story?
Like ultimately, I feel very disrespected right now. That's how my trip's going, basically.
God will punish him.
Yeah, I mean somebody will.
No, so I'm dating her, driving back, and there's deer all over this place all the time. It's during the rut, so it's in November, late-ish November, maybe like mid-November. Driving back from visiting her super late, I see this buck. It's just like a 3x3, and I swear it had the biggest balls I've ever seen, and they were bluer than hell.
Really,
Dude, I'm driving,
and it saw you, and you're
They-
like,
dude,
that's,
no,
that's
it was
David's
running
son
away.
right there,
dude. It was running
He's
away
the one
from
that
me.
smells like the good does.
So I'm driving past. I stopped at a
hold on,
stop sign.
stop for
What?
a second. Is this? Did you do something illegal?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right.
I don't know. It was
This is all
hobbling away. So
hypothetical.
Okay.
I did nothing actually. Really, I just saw it, and so It was a street lamp above us, actually a line of street lamps, and I stop at a stop sign, and it's at the corner of this crosswalk, and it's kind of like hobbling almost away. Each ball was the size of a damn grapefruit.
Wow.
It was the largest. I've told the story to a lot of people. They've always given me the look of.
I've heard Joey Diaz's balls the size of grapefruits.
I saw that podcast too.
Ah, it's interesting.
So, a lot of people looked at me like, no way. Like, I swear to God, they were so huge and they were sticking out of his back, so past his ass. Like they were not below him anymore. They were past his ass. And I'm like, and they're blue as hell. And I'm like, oh my gosh, this poor deer. I'm like, this poor
So
buck
you-
has
you
got
went out-
he got his ass kicked by all the bigger bucks. And so now he's being forced to walk around like this.
And you related or what? I'm just
God
kidding.
dang it, Gilbert.
Got him. Okay, so you are like, hey, Utah's your place probably. Honestly, as your cousin and your homie and someone that just knows you a little bit, I can imagine you living in Utah your whole life.
Yeah.
Would you be happy in Utah your whole life? Like, do you
for
think you'd
sure.
raise your kids around all these Utahns?
I do love the family support that he has in Utah.
Yeah.
In Nebraska, I saw my cousins once a year. I saw my grandma once a year. I never met any of my other grandparents because they died before I was born.
Okay, so you don't have
So-
like a big family.
Well, yeah, I mean,
does.
I have 10 brothers and
Okay.
sisters.
Oh, okay.
So,
Nice. Heck
I mean,
yeah.
I just didn't have extended family around me. So I love the family base that he has in Utah. That's one of the only reasons I would stay here. The mountains are beautiful. It's not worth it to buy a house here, I wouldn't say. Maybe to rent out, I would do it. But I would buy a house in like Wyoming. I don't like state income tax, so I would go to either Texas. Well, I think Texas has it, but Tennessee doesn't.
Texas doesn't have income tax.
Okay.
Alaska doesn't either, does it? I don't think Alaska does. And Wyoming doesn't, does it?
Nope, Wyoming doesn't.
Well,
So
we're
I've
moving
looked
to
at-
Wyoming.
I've been looking at houses in Tennessee, Texas, and Wyoming because
Okay.
I would rather live there.
Wow.
So you're like a hardcore conservative libertarian, would you say?
Yes.
Nice.
I'm probably more extreme than most girls you know.
Oh yeah, I believe
More
you.
ghosts than girls. Babe, you
I'm
haven't met the girls
gonna
he
go out on a
knows.
limb here and say you're probably more extreme in a couple areas than most girls I know, just based on what you told me about the backpacking the first date.
Well, actually, she was a little more liberal then.
Yeah.
Really?
I had to convince her out of it.
Did you have to
Silas-
talk her out of like a gender studies program like initially or what?
Okay, wait,
not quite
no.
that bad.
No.
Silas had to talk me out. I originally came for mechanical engineering, and then I was like,
Hey, that's super cool.
yeah, that was dope. I didn't like the classes, and then I was like, okay, let's go to like a different field to see what it's like. So I went to Middle Eastern studies, and he was like,
Ah.
what?
I wasn't going to say anything about this earlier.
I told
wasn't,
him,
but
and
you
his
brought it
face
up.
was like, "Oh my gosh!" And then I was like, "Okay, so that wasn't the best choice," but that was basically my awakening to
All of her
why it was
family were
stupid.
also like, oh my gosh.
Hold on, what was like the rationale? What did you want to know about the Middle East? Like, what would you do with that
So
information?
at the time, I was in Air Force ROTC,
Gotcha.
and
I
I
knew
wanted
that.
I wanted to do it for Intel, and I
Okay.
wanted to like learn Arabic.
Oh, okay, so you weren't like
Yeah,
it wasn't like a
big one.
feminist thing. It was like, you want to learn how to go
Yeah, but
Exactly.
do
it
espionage.
still kind of feels. When I met Silas, he
I
was like, "I
wish.
don't want
She
you to
doesn't have
work."
the heart for it.
he was like, I don't want you to be active duty. I don't want to have the government control our family and tell you what to do. Like, I would go, if I was going to be in the military, I would be in the National Guard, work like once a month, get my healthcare paid for. And then if I wanted to go full time, I could. But there's a lot of benefits. Like, they could pay for all my college. So I would only do that. I wouldn't do active duty.
Okay, so this is kind of a personal question, and I honestly don't know enough about this topic to even be asking, but I'm going to go for it anyways. Because Alberto's explained to me the difference between masculine energy and feminine energy.
Ah.
Okay.
So would you consider yourself to be more... And I don't know. Man, I wish I should probably have read the book you recommended to me 4 months ago. But would you consider yourself to have more like a masculine energy or a feminine energy? Because you're obviously, you said you want to have a bunch of kids. You're obviously a very feminine-looking woman. You're into sewing. You're obviously a homemaker. But you're also like, okay, ROTC. You want to like get involved with the Middle East, mechanical engineering. What's up with that?
I would say
I have to use the restroom.
Yeah.
I am naturally inclined to have masculine energy compared to most women. I work in snow removal and landscaping right now, so I'm like one of the only girls on my team.
Okay.
And I love the physical work.
Do you drive a snowplow or what do you do?
So I don't drive a snowplow. I would if I was in a different department. Our department just doesn't do that. It's at Sundance in a resort.
Oh, nice.
So
okay.
we're in charge of
I've been
just
to
like
Sundance a bunch of times.
we just shovel all the pathways, like we shovel walkways in private homes and stuff. So it's a lot of physical labor, but I think that's where I'm happiest. I think I have it in like my ancestry where we had a lot of agriculture. So it makes me happiest to be active in doing things.
What's your ancestry? You look like you're Scottish and English.
So I haven't done 23andMe, but we do have a lot of European descent. So
Okay.
I think I have some English like royalty in my bloodline, but I'm not sure what I have exactly. I think I'm everything, basically.
I don't know. I
Definitely African American as well.
really African American. I'm 0.5%. I'm 0.5% sub-Saharan African and Congolese.
They go up by 0.5%?
No, that's what they said. I'm 0.5%.
Because don't talk to Henry about that, dude.
Oh, dog!
He's gonna school you, and then he's gonna make you feel dumb.
What's he? Just give me the.
Because once I was like, oh, dude, I think I'm like, I believe I'm like 2% Native American, which I do have some in me. I do have some in me because my mother actually on my grandma on my mother's side has Native American in her.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, it's really low. It's around 1 to 3 somewhere in there.
I'm 15% Native American, according to 23andMe.
Yeah. So, but anyway, Henry schooled me and was like, they go up by 6s or something like that. I'm gonna get it wrong, and I know he's gonna give me crap for it later. But he just schooled me in it, and I was like, all right, I am full on black. That's how I identify now. This is where we're going in life.
Interesting. Well, give it a couple years. I think more people will support you in that. It won't be me, but people will. The gender study people will. It's kind of the inevitable. It's kind of like the inevitable conclusion. All this shit. I think the changing race is. I mean, I'm not the first person to say this, so I can't take credit for this, but it makes sense that changing race would be a lot easier than changing gender.
Yeah.
That seems like it's easier to buy.
Have you seen clips from What is a Woman?
No, I gotta watch it. People have given me their Daily Wire login like multiple times, and I keep saying I'm gonna watch it, and I keep forgetting.
You're privileged. I don't even have that. I just watch YouTube.
You're privileged.
Yeah. Well, it's Native American privilege.
I wish I had friends that gave me. I wish I had friends that gave me their Daily Wire login.
I'll give you my dad's. I think he has like 2 accounts. He's like, here, take this one. It's got 6 months left on it.
Well, one of the scenes from that is that Matt Walsh is talking to a therapist. He's like, I like scented candles. I like watching Sex in the City. How do I know if I'm a woman? She's like, yeah, totally.
Wait, Matt Walsh watched Sex in the City?
No, he was saying hypothetically.
Okay.
Like to this therapist.
I was like, that's weird.
I watched that interview.
Honestly,
very funny.
All right,
she was totally ready to affirm him as a woman, based on those 2 things and his uncertainty. And so it was like, it's just crazy.
Sounds like someone's trying to manipulate someone else.
Yeah, that's like a whole rabbit hole we could go down, but I kind of avoid that topic because, well, no, not even I avoid it, but I typically don't get into it because I just feel like everyone's already said it so much better than I ever could.
I feel like that on so many topics, like politics a lot too. people talk about all my family talk about politics around me, and frankly, I got so bored and sick of talking about politics. I still watch politics all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm learned in them, and I know my stuff, and I know where I stand. But talking about them, dude, I think it's one of the most boring subjects now.
So you identify as black. You identify as everything, but also European, and you also are of royal descent.
You are?
Yes.
So okay, another weird thing I found out on this trip. Apparently, I'm like a registered Mormon.
You're not excommunicated?
No.
Dude, are you baptized today?
Okay, that's a good question. The Mormons, missionaries, come to my mom's house all the time, apparently. Don't know why. And they were looking for me and my wife, and they're like, hey, we haven't heard from these guys for a while. Their records, I guess, go with my mom. Apparently, I have like a member number, and according to the Mormon church's records, I've been baptized.
Babe, what's a
I've
member
never
number?
been baptized, ever. And I'm not Mormon. I didn't even grow up Mormon. I was never Mormon at any point, didn't go to the Mormon church. But they got an argument with her, and they're like, no, both of these kids have been registered. They have their whatever, their ID number, and it says they've both been baptized in the church.
How do they know it's you?
I don't know.
They have a picture that says,
I don't
here's
know.
Gilbert at 4 years old.
They're
Like,
Gilbert and probably my date of birth. I have no idea. But apparently I'm in the system. So, like, I could go.
missionaries really get an argument with her?
Oh, that's what she said.
Oh.
Someone was cutting corners.
I don't like missionaries most of the time. But
The point is I'm in the system. So I went and did, like, all this ancestral background stuff to, like, because the Mormons keep track of that really well.
Mhm.
And I'm related to, like, every U.S. president since George Washington. Not even joking.
Ooh.
All of them.
I know.
You've been in there too?
I've been in there too. I
Yeah.
know.
I'm assuming it wasn't from my dad's side because.
Oh no, it is. A part of it is from your dad's side.
Oh,
for
is it?
sure.
Okay.
It's what's his name? I think it was Francis LeBaron came over on. It was either the Nina de Pinta de Santa Maria or it was the Mayflower. One of those two
Really?
ships. Yeah, he came over. He's one of the only set. He survived where a lot of them died. Oh crap! I'm trying to.
So wait,
remember,
our
but-
ancestors were the original Americans?
Yes, we have an
No
ancestor. Was one
shit.
of the, there's I can't remember what it is. I was reading up on it like 4 years ago. There's a certain area where they came over. I really am lost on a bit of the names and where to actually go to find this. But there's like certain things that you can only go to if you're like a direct descendant of that person and you can prove it. And we're direct descendants of Francis LeBaron.
Yeah. Because he was
So-
the first LeBaron, right?
Yeah.
First ever LeBaron.
Over, at least in the States.
But I actually went all the way back to Francis LeBaron, and the people before him weren't even LeBaron. They were just Baron.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they were actually like land barons, weren't they?
Yeah, exactly. They were.
They were like royals.
Like lords.
So here's what's interesting, though.
royals.
I'm like the 10th cousin or closer to every U.S. president ever.
Yeah.
Is that like for everybody, or is that just
I
me?
don't know. I don't know.
And also Thomas Edison, which I thought was kind of cool.
That's cool.
You just got all the important
I know
figures.
Anna Louisa May Alcott, Henry
Dang.
David Thoreau,
What?
a bunch of them only.
We got to compare notes.
I don't know, because I'm like, is everybody 10th cousins with basically everybody?
Who's more genetically superior?
Wow.
Dude.
Well,
I-
a lot
it's
of my
really
family
weird.
say it's us, so I don't know. What does your family tell you?
We don't need to go into that.
Who's genetically more superior? Do your family say you're more genetically superior?
I'm talking about Jordans compared to LeBarons.
He
Oh.
is a LeBaron too, though.
I am a LeBaron.
Yeah, he's a LeBaron too. In fact, I'm gonna put your last name as LeBaron in this podcast. Just
Okay, that's
keep
fair.
the trend going. You know
Dude,
what I'm
just
saying?
do it.
Let's go.
One of the family.
dollar bill, yeah.
Dude, I mean, if you talk to like any of my buddies and friends, all of our buddies and friends, they'll all like, oh yeah, he's pretty much just a LeBaron.
No,
They'll all say that, dude.
you're very distinctly Jordan, and I'm
Oh, yeah,
also
for
very
sure.
distinctly Jordan in my own way. We all
for
are.
sure. But it's very funny,
But you do have LeBaron blood in you.
for sure.
Yeah,
No,
like
we
you're.
do.
You go back like 2 generations. The last name thing is kind of bullshit though, because
Yeah.
I was looking at my family tree,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like literally there's like like every time you go back a generation, so it's like my mom and dad, boom, that's 2. My grandma and grandpa, that's 4. And then
Yeah.
8, and then 16, and then 32, and it just keeps growing and growing and growing. Yeah. And out of like those 32 great-great-grandparents, every single one of them had a different last name, except for this one LeBaron dude that happened to have a son. And this one LeBaron dude that happened to have a son. And this one LeBaron, it's like, last names are kind of bullshit because you're as much, you're literally genetically as much like freaking 1,000 other things, but
yeah,
they didn't have the son, so
sure.
Fuck them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's the son what matters.
So
have
funny.
you guys looked up if you guys are 10th cousins? You guys are probably
I don't
10th
know.
cousins. You guys look close
Dude,
enough
you
alike.
know some real scary stuff.
What?
I'm just
We may
saying.
be. What's our ancestor? Who's the ancestor that's we're direct descendant of? He was one of Joseph Smith's 12.
Talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, I have no idea.
Sandoval knows. He always reminds me of the name, and I can't remember. And Grace is a direct descendant of Hiram Smith.
Yeah.
So
Hiram Smith is who?
Joseph Smith's brother.
Ah.
So we're definitely
I got the
connected
original
somewhere.
blood.
Okay, but here's the thing. Joseph Smith was not that far along. Like these. How long ago did he live? Like 1800s?
Yeah, around 1840s, I believe.
Dog, that's like
160 years ago.
it's like
180.
it's like 3 people.
Yeah.
Not to like pull a Joe Rogan here. I swear to you, it's a problem. I don't even like saying his name on the podcast, but that's like 3 people ago.
Yeah.
That was not that long ago. You guys are probably like
We're
fourth
close.
cousins.
Yeah, for sure. It was really scary. I'm in my singles ward right after I got baptized to the church, like 5-6 years ago, whenever that was. And I'm sitting there, like, they finally get me into the family tree thing where I can look at who I'm all connected to, and everyone's like a 10th or 11th or 12th cousin.
Yeah.
And then there's this one guy who I find beforehand to be so flippin' annoying, I literally ignore the guy, and he's my 4th cousin.
No, not that.
Dude, and when he found out that he was my 4th cousin, he got even more annoying. And I was like, yeah, we may be 4th cousins. But you see, you ugly, I'm not. You fat, I'm not. You short, I'm not. Okay, go away from me.
Take it easy, bud.
I was so mean.
Do you want the heat?
That's
'Cause
actually
you sound like you're asking for the heat.
the heat. No, I actually wasn't that bad. I didn't say that to him. I just said, go away from me. I'm not that. I was never actually that rude or arrogant or cocky, like, at all. But like that deliberate in
You just got to
public to
keep the
someone.
thoughts on the inside.
It was mainly like that, and he was just a very annoying human. And I found out we were 4th cousins, and so did he.
Yeah.
And he also beforehand had a little bit of crush on Vicky, my older sister, who went to the same singles ward at a time. And I was like, too close, dude. Too close to get married.
That's funny.
That was really funny.
So what do you value in a person?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
Are we talking friendships or relationships?
No, just friend people, like just general people.
general and people.
Yeah.
What makes them a good person? So courtesy. Courtesy is a big thing.
Courtesy, okay.
Courtesy. I don't need you to open the door for me. I don't need you to be crazy, polite, everything like that. There are general courtesies that I try to give to other human beings on a regular basis as to how I talk to them, how I treat them, especially if I've never met you before, never talked to you before. I'm not going to be super rude and aggressive with you right off the start.
But after like meeting them a couple times, you're gonna start getting rude and aggressive.
Oh yeah, no, I'll get rude and aggressive in the same interaction if I feel they actually deserve it. I judge pretty much every encounter like pretty severely the second it starts. And Uncle Johnny actually told me choose what offends you when I was when I was in North Dakota, so I was 19 at the time still.
Okay.
Said choose what offends you, and after I started doing that, it was easier to have interactions with people. And
Gotcha.
so what I value in someone is courtesy. Are you courtesy? Are you courtesy?
Courteous.
Sorry, courteous. Are you courteous?
Jinx.
Are you walking around like you're proud? Are you better than everyone else around you because you have more money, because you're better at this activity? No. Okay, chill out. You can know you're better at someone, but being humble and meek, I think meek is a good word for it.
Meek, okay.
Meek. That's how Christ was described, and that's how Moses was described, very meek, and humble is included into that among a few other things.
Okay.
And someone in good control of themselves who knows that they're rich, or knows that they are very capable, or knows that they are very intelligent and smart, right? Mm-hmm. Not stupid, and they control it, so they don't have this big old head going around all the time. And the biggest thing for me learning to be courteous was being too loud. I had to learn how to not be so loud all the time.
Yeah.
That was the number one problem people had with me. It's too damn loud.
I like loud people though.
I'm still very loud, but I pick and choose now where I'm loud, and roughhouse all the time, and so courteous.
Roughhousing caught me off guard a little bit when I first started hanging out with you again in North Dakota. You like come up and like, I'm like, what are you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I do remember that. You actually
I'm not used to that.
Those interactions,
but
right
I don't
there
mind
is
it now. Now I'm like, he's cool. He just likes
those
me. He's my
interactions
friend.
there though made me actually like, oh, he doesn't like this. I should be a more courteous person and not do that to him so often.
Yeah.
Now we're way closer friends, and it's a different thing.
Oh, it doesn't bother. It just took me off guard because most people don't do that.
Yeah, but it's also people that are just rude. Like, oh, dude, I can't stand rude people that are rude for unnecessary reasons.
Gotcha.
Just chill. Just take a flippin' chill pill.
Yeah.
Right? You don't need to be angry. You need to have more control over your emotions, man or woman. It's I feel like control over your emotions is a little hard for women a lot of the time, but it's really hard for men when they're angry.
Yeah.
And it's just like, take a chill pill. Most of the time these days, if I get angry at something or offended, you can be sure that I pretty much, and even if it's a long period of time, like a few seconds, or if it's like a split second decision, you can know that I chose to be offended and chose to be angry at this. It's not just something I'm reacting, knee-jerk reaction. I do that very, very rarely now. I will choose if I'm going to be upset at you.
Sounds like
And
that's because you're pretty comfortable in whatever environment you're in.
Yeah.
So normally people that react like spontaneously, it's because they're outside of their comfort zone.
Yeah.
So you're just not
My
outside
comfort zone is like everywhere, though, dude.
that's fair. No, that's
My
valid.
comfort zone ranges from being the chillest chill to the loudest loud to having nice conversations or talking about cool topics and hanging out with super cool people who think they're above everyone, going in there and breaking up their whole dynamic they have going on purpose.
Yeah. So you like politeness?
Yeah.
What was the word you used for
Courtesy.
that?
Courtesy.
Okay, courtesy. Because courtesy is a little different. Is courtesy the same
Both.
as politeness?
No, they're not.
What's the difference? Courtesy
I like
and
polite
politeness?
people. Politeness, I feel like, would be someone gave me a really good definition the other day between like kind and politeness.
Okay.
And I think it can kind of go towards courteous. It's like politeness is like gosh, what's a good word for it? I'm trying to remember this. It's a little late, but
Can I say something?
yeah, go for it.
I would say being polite is like surface level, like
Yeah.
greeting people and everything. And I would say being courteous is going out of your way to make that person feel welcomed and heard.
Okay. I would say
Yeah.
I'm generally polite, but I'm only courteous to people that I really like. I'm not courteous to everybody. Some people are courteous to everybody. You're probably somebody that I'd say is probably more courteous than average because you're like you'd probably help somebody out if they seem like a nice person. You'd probably go out of your way to help them out.
Even if they're a bad person, I've helped out some bad people.
Yeah, I'm not really
or
that
mean
way.
people or just aggressive or rude people. I've helped them on purpose.
I struggle to be polite. Courtesy only comes if I really like somebody.
I'm naturally always have been super polite. I'm naturally super polite, but I actually struggle with it a lot because I find that most people are not courteous and not polite, and you have to kind of like shock them almost into it, like, hey, like mention it almost, like, oh, they didn't think about it, and you got to tell them.
What do you? Well, give me an example.
Not opening up the door for someone, right? So it's it's common courtesy. Someone's walking out there right behind you, hold the door.
Yeah.
Right, common courtesy.
Can I say something?
Yeah, hit it.
I think a situation in which your friend group was specifically being impolite or being uncourteous is when we were like playing a game and someone's like not thinking about the rules and they make a mistake. Your friend group will purposely make them feel a negative feeling so that they don't make that mistake again. And I really respect
my
that.
friend group?
Yeah. Like,
Oh yeah.
I really respect
like
that because it changes,
rules.
it makes people change a lot faster compared to just being like, oh, don't worry about it and keep playing the game.
Okay,
sure.
I know what you're talking about.
He knows
I
exactly
totally know
what we're talking
However,
about.
that's kind of a double-edged knife because on
It
the one
is.
hand, they quickly alter behavior. On the other hand, I feel like sometimes that group mentality, it goes like to a negative place, and I'm
Oh,
like,
it does.
I need to get out of this. Like I can only deal with so much of this.
It's rare now, especially when I'm in the group. It's really rare now because it's really rare because mainly if it's I in the group or Peter's in the group or Peter and I are in the group, we don't let it sit at the negative space like ever very long. We refuse to.
Interesting.
And we both carry enough weight in the circles and the groups we hang around to straight up, no matter if it's dragging and screaming, and drag that bad mood back into a good mood. And we can do it like this.
That's cool.
All right, it's a snap of a finger. And as far as like rules go and being courteous, dude, we like Peter, especially with Uno, dude. The best, he's probably the best Uno player I know by far. Just super good. One of the best players at pretty much any game we play by far. Like just good at almost all of them. And Uno especially. That guy is just really good at Uno, and he really likes the rules being obeyed.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like he goes a little too far with the rules, like maybe just chill just a little bit. But we're to the point where if we're playing Uno, one or the other is going to just back out because we know that we're going to get in an argument or a fight sometimes, and it just kind of, that's like one thing where we'll actually make the mood together a little bit negative sometimes if we're in the same group playing Uno. And we play so competitive and don't even realize it, and then we make the mood a little negative. And so if he's playing Uno, I'll step out. If I'm playing Uno, a lot of times he'll step out. We haven't had too many times to really go
You
over
guys
it.
can't play Uno together.
It's something we kind of talked about, and it's something we just did. I was like, I'm just gonna chill. You guys enjoy yourselves.
That's funny. Well, at least you guys let us
'Cause-
set boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Peter and I. Peter's obviously like one of my best friends in the entire world. He's such an amazing person.
Peter's a good
And,
egg. I wish he was doing this podcast with us. It'd be fun, but it's also really cool doing it with you and your wife. Honestly,
I'm so happy you came
Yeah.
over,
I'm super
dude.
pumped that
This is fun.
I was like,
Doing
when you
this with
texted
us,
me at
guys.
9:00, dude, I was wondering, like 8:56. And I'm like, oh, man, I don't know if he's going to come over. And then Sam's getting ready to leave, and I'm having to throw him out of my house because my wife and his girlfriend are super good friends and won't leave. Dude, oh no is the right word. They committed me to like 3 plans in the matter of 20 minutes, and I don't know how they did it. But
hilarious.
Sam trying to leave, and then you text me at, what was it, like 8:59 or 9:00 exactly, and you're like, I'll be there in 30 minutes. You showed up, and I was like, dang, I'm so happy he's coming over.
Heck yeah. I'm glad. Honestly, I'm glad you called me or like come over because I was like, it's 9:00. I'm probably just gonna shoot him a text. If he doesn't answer, I'm going to bed. But no. So circle back real quick, and then I have the same question for Grace. Basically, I'm honestly super glad you're telling me this because me and you. It's funny because I really like you. I think you're a really cool dude, and you're someone I could like imagine being friends with forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I can't imagine because I have like you have some friends you're like like they're kind of good fair weather friends, but like you're a good egg. I like you, but it's interesting because the top 3 things you listed off that you value the most in people probably aren't even in my top 5. Like none of them are. So it's interesting. So you like courtesy,
it's treating people well. How do you treat your fellow man? That's the biggest one, really,
Well,
really, truly. How do you
well.
treat your fellow? I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about. Oh, you got to know this person and you said fuck you and ended your relationship. I'm talking about how do you treat your fellow person. I don't know. I got really, really, really good at picking and choosing when and when not to be courteous, when and when to be polite, when and when to be nice, definitely when to be aggressive and mean.
Yeah. So what were the other 2, real quick, just so we can
Top 5.
No, the
No,
other
you're-
2 that you mentioned. So courteous was number 1.
Courteous was number 1.
What were the other 2?
Meekness, which
and
is
then-
humble and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I have friends that are not humble, right?
Yeah.
And I still love them to death.
I
But
hope
they
you
carry
didn't just
some of the other
gesture at me. I feel
But-
like I'm pretty humble.
ones. Oh, you're generally pretty humble. No, you're generally pretty humble.
I'm just teasing, but anyway.
How do you treat your fellow man is actually truly how I actually kind of feel like I'll be judged someday by God for how were you righteous, right? I have so many people that they read their Bible, Book of Mormon every day. They are praying every day. They go to church. They go to the temple. They are so holy and righteous. And they treat people like crap. They're rude. They're condescending. They scream. They whine. They cause hell in other people's lives intentionally to get what they want. And sometimes you have to do that. But the people I hang around don't do it that often. And And I'm like, there's me over here who I feel like I'm pretty damn faithful to God. I know where I'm stand. No one's going to tell me that I can't worship my God or live for my God or die for my God or anything. And how do I treat my fellow man? You treat me super, super nice. If you didn't treat me nice, if you were rude to me or you tried to manipulate me every single time I talked to you, like negatively or just to benefit you every time I talk to you.
Yeah.
I'm also really good at noticing that and then just, oh, hey, no, I'm not interested in talking to you. I've told that to a few people.
Yeah.
I'm not interested in being your friend. Go away. That's it. And it's just that blunt. It's not rude, not a fuck you. It's gotten to that point sometimes, but it's usually after some people say fuck you first.
Yeah.
Now, if you talk to Peter, Henry, and Steven, they'll be like, yeah, you say that first every time. I'm like, it's because you assholes, okay? You're all my buddies. I have to say fuck you or you guys don't listen.
That's funny.
So, but just how do you treat other people around you? So big for me. How do you treat others? And also, how do you treat random strangers off of the street compared to how do you treat those closest to you? You know this in our family. We have such a huge issue. A lot of people we grew up with.
We treat strangers super well, and we
then
treat our own family like shit.
Exactly.
I'm the
I
opposite.
hate that. I hate that. It literally is one of the most negative things I have. There's a lot of reasons I don't talk to most of my aunts and uncles, although some of them are good people, some of them not as much. And it's because they treat others better than they treat their own family.
Yeah.
And
that's weird, yeah.
I don't like it.
Do you think it's something that they learned growing up, or do you think it's something that they learned because they're all in the customer service industry? They're all in the service industry.
Kind of
both.
It's weird because almost all of them have it. Almost all of them have it. And I think maybe all of them have it to a certain degree.
Yeah.
It's like they dress to impress, right? Yeah. They want to impress that new person in their life and yada, yada, yada. We're all so happy. We're it's the new person. We're hyped up to have this new friend. And then as you get to know them, you treat them more and more like crap.
Interesting.
And I can't stand it. It's one of the main things that kills me in life. I won't hang out with people like that. If you treat me like crap and I'm your friend, I will literally tell you I'm done talking to you, and here's the reason why. I will give you a fucking list of reasons why, motherfucker. I have a buddy named Apron who's not related to me at all.
Hold on.
I love that guy.
I think your wife was trying to say
Oh,
something.
is she?
Just for the sake that
go for it.
You'll talk forever.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
we gotta let
that
Grace
subject
talk once in
triggers
a
me,
while.
dude.
Sorry, what
I
were you
think
saying?
part of the reason that people do that, because it happened in my family too.
Yeah.
I think it's because they
I'm
take,
sure it happens. Sorry to cut you off. I'm sure it happens to some degree in a lot of families. 'Cause it's
Yeah. I think it's because they take their loved ones for granted. Like,
Yeah.
at some point, your relationship with someone, the trade-offs, like the good things that happened, are good enough to where they're going to withstand a good deal of bad treatment from that person. So I think that's why they're like, oh yeah, if you treat me worse than the average person you meet on the street, it doesn't really matter because we have all these good moments together.
Yeah.
And they're going to keep happening in the future. I think that's a big reason why.
I noticed that
do
a
it.
while ago. I definitely am guilty of taking people for granted.
I think everyone is to a certain degree.
Yeah.
But it's to the degree and how well do you know you're doing it.
Yeah. And how much are you willing to like make the effort to not do it?
To make the effort. I make a huge effort. If I make a huge effort, I don't know, when anyone comes around, like a really funny thing is Johnny, Grandma Elsa's son.
Mm-hmm.
He throws a lot of my parties for me. He will invite himself to my house, and then he will invite a bunch of other people to my house, and I will cook. I love cooking for people. I love it. They come over to my house. I will cook for you. I don't care if it's 1 a.m. I will grill for you. I don't care if it's -5 in a snowstorm. I will grill for you. I love cooking for people. I love entertaining. I love making friends and being jolly and happy. So Johnny will invite over like a bunch of his little teenager friends, and it's so bloody funny just having fun and just being polite. I don't know. It's just nice. But if you start off and you come to my house and you're angry and you're yelling about how bad your day was and I don't know you that well, right? It pisses me off. It annoys me. I don't know you that well. Don't tell me about your problems. I don't care. I can be kind. I can be courteous. I can be polite. And polite is just sitting there saying, But if you get too much, don't come to my house. Don't come to me. You don't know me that well and tell me about all the problems you have in the world. I've seen a lot of people do that.
It's incourteous.
And exactly,
it's
it's
to go dump all your
courteous.
problems on people, and
I don't like it. I'm
Yeah.
like, don't tell me. I don't care that much. My level of not giving a shit is at epic proportions, dude. It's at not even epic. It's at legendary proportions. There's so much of it. I don't care, and I pick and choose to care. So I don't care, and I cannot care very easily, but I usually choose to care more. But if someone just comes with their problems, I've had a few people, won't name names, that I don't know that well, probably will really never see again, that come to me and start unloading their problems, and it's like, I like you way less because the first thing you did, instead of just having a chat with me like a normal person, you immediately started crying about your problems. And some people just need to be heard, and I get that, and I could read that in some of these people, but at the same time, I don't know you.
Yeah.
Don't dump your problems on me.
That's also kind of like a younger person thing.
Yeah, young people do. It's always people that are younger, 20 and younger.
Yeah, because they want feedback. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. We've all been guilty of it at one point or another. You got to have grace for a certain level. But, no, I get what you're saying. Yeah, it's incourteous. And that's it. I'm glad to know that about you. I'm glad to know because I'm not like a naturally courteous person. I can be courteous. I know how to be courteous. But it's not like I naturally am like, I want to serve people and help people. It's like... Anyways,
if you came to my house and dumped your problems on me, I would say, bro, I'll listen all day. I'll just listen to you.
Dog, if somebody bitches about their problems for more than 2 minutes and it's not highly entertaining, I'll straight up be like, dog, 120 an hour for therapy. Okay, please shut the fuck up.
I only deal with it if it's my boss.
All right, it's getting a little bit late. I know you guys probably need to get.
Oh,
but
she has to pack no matter what, babe.
Yeah.
Pack. We're
Hold
talking
on.
more.
No. That's where I was going with this. Grace, tell us, what are the three things? What are your three top things that you value in people the most? You can't use Silas's unless you really mean it.
Honesty, compassion, and loyalty.
Really? Okay, hold on. You only have a minute. You don't have 10 minutes again. But is loyalty on your list too? Because I was going to ask that earlier.
Yeah.
Is it like in your top five?
Yeah, definitely top five.
Interesting. So why? So honesty, compassion, and loyalty in that order.
Probably, yeah.
So why honesty at the top? And I can relate to honesty because honesty's. My top value in people is probably integrity, which is a little bit different than honesty, but I can relate to the honesty thing. Why is honesty at the top for you?
Because when I'm like talking to people, I want them to tell me. I don't want them to embellish anything. I want to embellish anything. Thank you.
Yeah, you're good.
I want them to tell me their exact true story, or I don't want them to hide anything from me, even if it's like a negative thing. I think speaking with truth in everything you do is a really big factor to success in life. And so whether that's like religiously or financially in a business. So yeah, that's something I try to do. I try to be honest in anything I do and say. And so that's something I value. I think it makes a huge impact on day-to-day life.
If people are dishonest, can you still be friends with them?
Not good friends.
Yeah.
I'll be polite to them and like hang out with them, but that's why I have good relationships with few people.
Because you think most people are dishonest?
Yeah. I feel like people aren't comfortable with opening up to everyone.
Yeah.
And so they cover up their life with like lies, and it's not bad all the time, but they're not honest about it.
Yeah.
And so I feel like truly honest people have good relationships with a lot of people, but also they don't share their information with a lot of people. So
yeah. And that's interesting because you did kind of open with that. They're like, oh, you don't like Utah because you feel like or you don't like some of the Utahns because a lot of them are fake, and you didn't like BYU because it was a lot of just really preppy, pretentious people.
Yeah.
And I can relate to that a lot. It does seem like the most hardcore religious people also are the ones that are like out there. Not that I'm even against really that many things. I'm pretty much kind of like live
Do what
and
you
let
want,
live.
bud.
Well, to a degree, obviously, I have standards, but in terms of like the stereotypical Mormon shit, drinking, smoking, whatever else, premarital sex, make a list. I just don't care about any of it. I'm just
Agreed.
like, look it, dog. I've done it all.
I
probably will continue to do a lot of it.
I think people who do those things, for the most part, they can still be extremely honest and extremely people of integrity. and extremely good people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So honesty, and then you said compassion. What's compassion? That's not on my list either.
Compassion. Well, I was
Compassion's
thinking
different.
about, there's a lot of people I know who are like loud and prideful and meek and humble. But the one thing that I love that's a common characteristic of all those people is that they're looking out for their friends
Okay.
and they're compassionate to their friends.
Yeah.
And so that's, I think, a valuable characteristic, because you can be any type of person, but if you look out for your family and your friends, I think that's very compassionate.
But what I like compassionate? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Compassionate, like courteous, like is kind of containing compassionate almost in it
I
too.
think courteous is a little.
Well, I'm not
bit
saying they're
different.
the same thing.
Yeah.
I'm saying like in my mind I connect them.
Yeah.
If I go to a store and it's the new employee and they take longer and then they screw up my order and they have to redo it, don't yell at them. Don't get bitchy at them. Don't get annoyed.
Yeah.
Just chill. Maybe they're having a bad day. I have my bad days, and my bad days almost always turn out to be customers getting upset at me because they're rich snobs. And I'm like, you know what? I don't want to do that to other people. I don't want to make other people feel like shit because they're having a bad day and they're just having a rough time. Right? That's something. I don't like that.
Yeah.
And then the last one, oh, sorry. Did you have something
no.
more to say about that?
Go ahead.
And then the last one, loyalty. What's like an example of somebody that's like a good level of loyal?
So, yeah, I'm not sure about your relationships,
I asked her.
but I think a good example of someone being loyal, like if I hear a different coworker talking crap on my supervisor who I think I have a good relationship with, I'll like defend them. I think that's being loyal. If someone's talking crap on my husband, I'm going to be loyal. They basically defending someone when they're not there. Truly being a good friend to them and being there for them when they don't ask you to be. So just being aware of where they are in life and helping them.
That's a good one. That's actually a great explanation of loyalty, like a good level of loyalty, not like a loyalty to like a football team or something that just doesn't make sense. I agree. Being a good friend when your friends aren't there, that's also pretty important to me. I don't really.
That's huge.
I don't really relate. It's funny. I don't really relate to the courtesy thing or the politeness or the compassion part. But it's cool that like you guys make good arguments for it. But definitely the loyalty and the honesty, I think is up there for me.
Yeah.
Mine, what connected all mine is how to treat your fellow man.
Yeah.
How to treat your fellow man good. You don't have to go out of your way to do everything for them. Take their trash down, clean their yard, change their tire. You don't have to do all that. But everything I was saying, like, you don't have to. If you did it, great. Right, you're special, right? But just how do you treat your fellow man? Like, do you treat them well? And most of the time that contains, do you handle yourself with integrity, honesty, loyalty? Someone talks crap on my friends with me in the room, I don't care where I'm at. I'm going to tell them to shut the fuck up immediately. Yeah. Usually I'll start off with, hey, I love that person to death. They're actually a super good person. You shouldn't talk about them like that.
Yeah.
Maybe go get to know them first. And then if they continue, then it's a shut the fuck up or I'm leaving. I'm out.
Yeah.
I've had to do that before in the past. So that is something. That's huge.
Yeah. All right, I'll tell you guys my top 3 real quick. And
Hit me.
I've
Hit
had
me.
years to think about these. They're probably going to change at some point, but they haven't changed in a while. Top of the list, and these are the first one is just the top, and the next 2 are pretty much tied. But the most important thing I think that I find valuable in people is integrity.
Yeah.
Integrity, it's funny because integrity is kind of like honesty and loyalty together, because integrity is like, it is being honest, but it's also being true to who you are, regardless of who you're with.
Yeah.
That to me is what integrity is.
Yeah.
It's like you can't pretend to be somebody when you're around, certain people and pretend to be somebody around somebody else. It's kind of like honesty, but it is, and then obviously you have to be honest at the same time.
Yeah.
I agree. Yeah.
And then second on the list, or I guess the next 2 are tied, is would probably be funny. Like, I value people that are funny. Like honestly, I'm not even joking. Like, to me, funny is just like, you know what I mean?
So I did not make that second cut.
Funny
did I?
and great. No,
Makes
you're
life
funny.
worth living.
You're funny. You're funny, and you haven't. Not the funniest friend I have, but you are funny.
Yeah, that's
you make me laugh.
Just
And
got
you
roasted.
definitely have. And then grit, funny and grit. Like people
that's
have
a
to have
good one.
grit. They have to be self-reliant. They have to be hard workers. They
Yeah.
have to be like willing to get it done. So here's what's funny about these 3 things I noticed is if you have all 3, you're like my favorite person. If you're having a lot of integrity, a lot of grit, and you're really funny, like fucking bros for life. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, explain so
And
much.
if you just have a lot of integrity, but you don't have a lot of grit and a lot of like you're not that funny, like I can still be your friend. Like I have friends that are like have a lot of integrity, but you're not like gonna be like my best friend. You know what I mean? Just because like, hey, it's what I
feel
value.
like
You know
the
what I mean?
funny part lets you have a connection with that person. That's
Yeah.
like beyond just having honesty, like a person of integrity around you.
Yeah, and then I have a couple friends that are like they have grit and they are funny, but they don't have integrity, and it's like I could still be your friend, but we're not going to be as close. You know what I mean? And then I also have friends that like have a lot of grit and have a lot of integrity, but aren't that funny. And it's like, yeah, you're still a valuable person to me, but if you're boring, then like I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? We're not gonna.
When someone insults my integrity, I don't get offended. I don't have a knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
My natural reaction is like almost F you, but then I think about it and I'm like, actually, I'm offended by that. I have a crap load of integrity. And I choose to have a ton of integrity every single day, and sometimes it's a hard choice. And when someone questions it, I immediately like, oh yeah, you're correct. I'm the biggest lying bastard you've ever met. And then I walk away and leave them alone, leaving them to hate me even more because it just makes me so mad. That's probably not a good thing. And I've done it to a few people I'm even kind of closer to. And then I think they caught on afterward that not only were they wrong to accuse me of not having integrity, but that I got really pissed off about it, walked away. I'm not super sensitive like that, but I do a lot to keep my integrity intact. And when someone says you don't, or when I don't, it's like, oh, well, if you're going to accuse me of not having integrity, you need to go back and rethink your life and where you messed up because I got a lot of it and I try to have a lot of it.
Yeah.
And you have a lot of integrity.
I try.
It's hard. Yeah. Sometimes, it's easier as you get better at it because then you find who you are as a person and you're able to stand up for yourself and your friends.
Yeah.
It gets way easier as you pretty much grow a pair almost, right?
Yeah.
But sometimes it's harder to have integrity.
Integrity, I think the reason for me it's integrity and not just honesty is because you can be honest and still be like a really hurtful person. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, that's definitely
And you can
true.
also be honest and you can still be honest and be a bad person. You know what I mean?
Yep.
You can be honest about being a bad person and still be a bad person.
Yep.
So like for me, integrity is just like, you don't want to be completely honest all the time. And I know this because I've been way too, like people always say I'm super blunt. And
I've had terrible
you can
experiences
be
of being too honest.
And so I feel like integrity, it's like that. It's like a good term to use for somebody that's honest, but also has tact and it also sticks to their guns. And it's just like, you want that quality. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And I think for females, it's different as well because I think the reason why I said compassion is because it's such a big factor of relationships with girls to be empathetic and to understand where they're coming from and to understand how to help them feel better. Like without compassion, that's hard to kind of succeed as a female.
Okay, tell me about that. That's interesting. I'm trying to understand women better.
So I'm terrible. I've had to learn.
I'm muting your microphone.
God dang it.
I think I'm a very like masculine woman and I try to be very feminine. It's like a balance, but I had to learn how to like connect with women. Naturally, women connect really easily because they talk a ton, like they gossip and they connect through that. And the women, when they gossip, they just back each other up. They're like, you're totally right. Yeah. And they just have each other's back no matter what. And they have empathy for each other, even if they're wrong.
Yeah.
And I think,
and they talk shit on other girls when they're around girls just because like that's what girls do kind of naturally.
I hate it, but I think it's an important skill and I think it's a good skill to have to succeed, like have a good base of girls around you.
Yeah.
So being compassionate is a huge skill. It takes a lot of patience because a lot of times I don't like listening to girls complain. I'm like, can you?
Neither do we, babe.
I'm like, just shut up, please. But it's a good skill. I think it was a big learning curve because I was homeschooled growing up.
Yeah.
And I came out and I had 6 roommates, and one of them was extremely narcissistic. She would always cut me off. She would always just talk about herself, like on and on. And it broke me to a point where I like broke down, and I was just like, in front of all my roommates, I was like, you are the epitome of what I hate. And it was so bad. It was so bad.
But the thing with girls is that they do tend to be more like, I don't know what the word is, but they flock together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And if like, and it's kind of the same with guys too. Although guys can kind of get away with being a lone wolf a little bit more than girls. Girls,
Yeah.
lone wolf girls are just, it's just not natural. You know what I'm saying?
No.
So if you don't figure out how to like make it work with the girls around you, it's probably a lot worse.
Well,
It's bad. I think
Or it can be.
I think throughout history, women are supposed to have a base of other women.
Yeah.
And I think guys are supposed to have a collection of guys are supposed to. I don't think guys should be lone wolves.
Yeah.
Women grow like, it takes a village to raise kids.
Both sexes need to connect with their,
Yes. I think it's a lot more
groups.
important for women to have a base of girls and for a guy to go out and find his career and have a base of men that he like built his career on or in his future on, that are like solid friends that are always going to have his back no matter what.
So when I met Grace, we got into her apartment, and she was trying so hard to connect with these girls, and all of them are teeny bopper liberal girls.
Teeny bopper?
Dude, they reminded me of like little teenagers still coming up, mommy and daddy paying for everything,
Okay.
their cars, their school. So some of them are 20 something years old or whatever, and the one she's talking about is specifically funny. I actually got along with all of her roommates pretty well, even being my young rambunctious self I was. But they were all really ditzy, really just kind of almost blonde. You know, the typical like, oh, they're blonde, they're kind of dumb type of thing.
To be fair, on their defense, they're probably also trying to flirt with you a little bit.
They were. Some of them. Some
No?
of them
They were all
were.
pretty dumb or what?
Some of them definitely were. But
All right. I like to play devil's advocate when people go too hard on the
flirting.
generalizations of other people's personalities, but continue.
Anyway,
I accept.
but here's the thing. So I get there, and Grace is trying to be like, she's trying really hard and succeeding at being in that crowd and in that group. And they had like all these other little college friends and all these guys that they just had wrapped around their fingers coming by all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I showed up, and I was really good at not giving a shit then too.
Yeah.
And so I taught Grace how to not care and what things were important in life. And after that happened, dude, it was like a tornado hit in her life.
I
dude.
jumped off the deep end. He was like, you need to like stand up for yourself. You need to like do this. Like, that's stupid. Why would you like let that happen? And I was like, you're totally right. And I just took it and ran with it, and it didn't go well.
There was zero tact involved.
Zero tact. So
That was a good lesson. That's what it was.
Yeah, it sounds like it. But how'd that go for your group of girlfriends? You think you're better off for being not having tact with them?
No. Well, okay, it depends. I'm better off because I learned a lot from it, but I just haven't been able to go back and like connect with them because I'm 1 on 2 embarrassed, and 2, it was all right, but it wasn't done well, and it ended up being really sad because she was really hurt that I had like said that, and I
you called her.
understand
You're
it.
like, yo, you're a narcissist.
I called her out, and I was like I don't agree with this. I don't. And she ended up like being the victim because she was like crying, and everyone was like, she shouldn't have said that about you, and which I shouldn't have said it in front of everyone, but it was true, and it was definitely a lesson. I shouldn't have done that, but
yeah. Sometimes you gotta let women be women and men be men, but definitely
not a constant.
Not a
I actually think that Grace is better off doing what she did. There was zero tact involved. It was very humorous to witness everything go down.
I just lost control of my emotions.
You did kind of, for sure. We could go into that topic like infinitely, but the reason why I think that she is better off the way she did it is because I couldn't see us having a good relationship with any of those people or their spouses or partners or intended others, whatever it is, in the long term at all. I looked at all of them, like all of them are very liberal. I am not.
Yeah.
Just seeing Grace and how she is and who she has as friends now, there's no way she could have continued to have.
So you made the
those roommates as
unilateral decision as the man in the relationship to say, yo, this is what you got to say. Cut these bitches out of your life.
No, I didn't say that. I said do what you want and say what you want, but here's what you should stand up for.
But here's what you should say.
Here's what you should stand up for. And she went in guns a-blazing and was like, fuck you bitches, and jumped right out, dude. And it
I was
did
like,
not
I'm getting
go well.
married in a month. Screw all of you.
How long were they your roommates?
For a year.
Okay.
They were good for about 6 months, and then I arrived.
No, the issue was mainly that they were really self-righteous, and so they just always thought they were right, and they weren't. And
Yeah.
I think that's a female condition, though. I feel like all girls think they're right until
All guys think they're right.
most of the time the guys are right.
Yeah. No. I'd say the men you're around sometimes you're right a lot of the time, but you also don't argue with a lot of people these days because you don't really have to. You just have pretty good common sense about you most of the time.
Men tend to be more logical and women do tend to be more emotional. So I
Masculine,
would say
feminine
that
energy.
if you tend to agree with men, it's probably because you tend to be able to think more logically than a lot of women.
Yeah.
I would imagine. Not saying that women don't think logically, because a lot of them do, but emotionally, their emotions do. In my experience, emotions, and it's something you probably are going to have to learn at some point, Silas. Not saying whatever, you don't know it.
No, go for
But if you do want to have good relationships with women, I'm saying this from experience, you do have to learn that people think about things. Women, and even men, but mostly women, they do tend to, even if you can logic it through with them, be like, this makes sense, right? And get them to agree with you. If they're not emotionally on board with you, you're not going to have a good time.
I already know that.
Yeah, okay.
I know that, man.
Well, it took me a while to figure that out.
I know that.
Not that it really, no, actually, I think intuitively we all kind of know that, but just it seems like
You
a
taught
lot of
me that?
times. Huh?
Peter taught me that.
Peter taught you a lot of things.
Peter taught me so much stuff, dude. I'd be a lost soul without Peter in my life.
I should have had Peter on here. It sounds like he has all the answers. You're just repeating them.
Yeah.
Basically.
Dude,
I'm
so
just
there's
teasing.
so there's such a
I'm just giving you shit.
Oh, that's fair. I mean,
I guess you
makes a joke.
reference Peter about as often as I reference Joe Rogan, so
yeah.
we're tied.
Perfect.
Not on this podcast. I had to stop referencing him. It was getting too much.
I know. I listened to your podcast.
You didn't listen to all the ones I had to cut out all the times I referenced him.
Hey, guys, real quick, can we take a small break?
Yeah.